music here indicates to us that we've reached another milestone in this program. We're going to listen to 10 CEOs from different parts of members sharing transformative ideas with us. A couple of things before we start. Everyone standing there. There's chairs here. There's some chairs there. Please join us if you want to sit down. Feel free to grab a seat. Yeah, great. Welcome. It's getting really full. All right. Are the CEOs almost ready to rumble? Yes? Great, great, great. So your job is going to be, as an audience, to energize them and to support them and to clap for them so that, maybe just also to show like how much you like the ideas being pitched. And your job, CEOs, is to look at the clock up there. Everyone has 3 minutes. So we're going to do 5 pitches and have a little reflection moment. And then another 5 pitches and reflections. And we're going to hear some really fantastic ideas. Ready? Yes. Even a bit more ready? This was kind of lunch dip, after lunch dip ready. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That works. Great. So the first CEO I'm going to invite to the stage is Doreen Burskens from Young Africa. Woo! There you go.
And the slides, please.
Yes. Here it is.
The clicker and the mic. Okay.
That's a bit much, huh? Yeah.
We'll try. Meet Tawanda, an African youth, a young African, our future. Africa is the youngest continent in the world. 70% of its population is below the age of 30 years. Staggering, isn't it? But what a potential, what an energy, what a resource. Educating them really, truly matters, doesn't it? Empower them to construct the future around them makes the huge difference for our world, for our planet. But the problem is that half of them do not have the opportunities for work and are missing the skills for a good livelihood. That's not a given. It works. An effective solution can only be where the youths are, in Africa, locally. So we offer integral empowerment, vocational skills, life skills, entrepreneurship, and a good set of supporting services to them. 2/3 of our graduates earn a living. That creates deep, deep impact. Localized development starts where the organization's power lies and where the project design is generated, where the leadership is based. #ShiftThePower in action. We moved our headquarters to Zimbabwe from our founding office in the Netherlands a couple of years ago. So we are right in the heart where we work, where the work takes place. The management is 2/3 Zimbabwean. I, as CEO and co-founder, have lived and worked half my life in Africa with love. In townships and in the bush, our staff is 95% African. And since last year, and that's maybe a revolution, our supervisory boards of the Zimbabwean and the Dutch Trust have merged into one. And you CEOs, you know, believe me, what a joy to report to only one board. Please.
30 more seconds.
Oh, Please connect for a moment with these energetic young people. We believe in their potential. They tell us over and over again that what they want is purpose and the tools to build a dignified life. That is why our training centers are where they are. And we run them as a social enterprise because there's more power in making your own money. We have innovated to be more agile with mobile training units, pop-up skill centers, so to speak. We teach our youths in conflict zones, in border towns, in rural areas. Already during their education, we plug them into the local private sector and connect them to local stakeholders. 50% of our students are girls. We strive for 5% of inclusion of youth with disability. That's just equitable and inclusive development. We are scaling to maximize our solution for impact for the future with our stakeholders and with our youths. Will you join to collaborate with us?
Nice. Thank you. Ooh. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, yes. Great, I don't need to. All right, the next PowerPitch we're going to listen to will be delivered by Happy Mwende from Mama Cash. Give her a hand. Woo! You can stand there, you can stand here if you like, whatever you like. Sure.
Okay?
Yes.
You hear me good? I think that's off. Okay. Hasn't started yet. Okay, now it starts. So, I vividly remember sitting behind my desk on my third day at Mama Cash and contemplating my next task. I was asked to make decisions about groups in Kazakhstan and Cambodia. In all honesty, I think I'd struggle to pick these countries out in a map. But I had a job to do. So to make good decisions, I knew I would need to fill some knowledge gaps. And so I Googled, I talked to people, I even talked to the groups themselves. But this reminded me that our understanding of the context as funders will always be limited. We can never understand the daily experiences of activists involved. So when we make decisions this way, it is likely we often miss out on the possibility for so much more impact. The great thing is there's a way around this. What if somebody from those contexts was actually the one making the decisions? Enter participatory grant making. So, after 6 years of working at Mama Cash, we shifted our approach. And today, all the funding decisions at Mama Cash are made through participatory processes. What does that look like? A group of feminists come together, and these feminists are from our networks. They're not staff at Mama Cash, and they form a decision-making group. These members are based from different areas, different geographies, identities. They have different networks, skills, knowledge, and they come together. They deliberate over all the different applications, and they make the decisions. They tell us how much to fund and who to fund, and we simply execute. Interesting fact, this picture over here, this is how Mama Cash started 40 years ago. Activists sat around kitchen tables, not Zoom tables, and they made the funding decisions. They were doing participatory grant making even before the term itself was coined. So this, for us at Mama Cash, is a return to our roots. Since we started participatory grant making, we noticed that our decisions are so much better. The movements are so much stronger because of these processes. Participatory grant making itself aligns with our values as Mama Cash to share power. As donors, we hold a lot of power, right? Mm-hmm. As a feminist donor, we believe that in any position we should be consistent and share that power. So, with participatory grant making, we move beyond the idea that one person or a small group of people, like those ones on the corner, often privileged through education and social access, are the only ones who can make the best decisions. And we lean into the knowledge and expertise that movements have readily available. No Google is needed. That doesn't count into
You had 13 more seconds.
Thank you very much. In case it wasn't clear for you, I am a huge fan of participatory grant-making systems. Decisions are better, and the process itself is so much more fun. So, I'm curious, if you're not yet using participatory grant-making, have I made you think about how you fund others or work with others, and how you might share your own power with participatory grant-making or other ways? In any case, I hope I've inspired you to see how you could support the leadership of movement actors in grant-making and fundamentally shift donor practices and ways of working. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yes, you've got followers here. Fantastic. The next pitch is going to be by Roland Monash from Aflatoon. Yes, there you are.
It's a tough one to follow, Happy. Scaling in a sustainable way in times of decolonizing aid. It's, for many of us, the holy grail. Today I'm going to speak about the social franchise model. My name is Roland Monash and I'm the CEO of Aflatoon International. Very briefly about Aflatoon, we provide children and young people social and financial skills, positive self-esteem, engaging them in their community, but then teach them about money because they need to understand money to survive and grow in their communities. We started as a traditional NGO. We got some funds. We identified 10 partners in developing countries. We provided them funds. They rolled out the concept, and it worked. The concept of social and financial education was extremely powerful. But then after 1 year, they said, Aflatoon, we want more money. Please, we want to do more of this. And then we realized, oh, this is the wrong track. This is not the way we should be doing. We do not want to have donor dependency. And us as Aflatoon in the Netherlands, we should not be fundraise and write donor reports and those things. That's not our strength. So we changed the model. And we started providing tools, training, capacity building to all these organizations. And since it was so powerful, we grew. We were 5 years ago already 170 organizations which were using Aflatoon social and financial skills in over 100 countries. But we ourselves had difficulty in fundraising. We were not giving any of these organizations funds, but we didn't know how to be self-redzaam, self-resilience ourselves. So we changed the business model. And one of the factors was that we said, okay, but if there is a really added value of what we are doing, we should start charging for our services. There is an added value there. So what we did is we went to these organizations and we said, actually, partners, we're together in this, but you have to make a contribution. So small local NGOs are paying 250 euros, mid-sized NGOs 750 euros, and large international NGOs 2,500 per country. My board said, Roland, you're completely crazy. You're giving them everything for free, you train them, and then you're going to charge them after all? They will all walk away. Not so. 95% of the partners stayed. They said, you're right, this is the way to go, because we want quality. The only ones who walked away were international NGOs who didn't feel to pay money to an organization like Aflatoon. The network has grown to 300. It's the best thing we ever done because suddenly there is a change in the relationship. Instead of being beneficiaries, they are customers. Our people in Amsterdam better deliver, otherwise we are in problems. The board is, my bosses are representatives from all these organizations. We have since then grown. More and more governments are also getting interested in the subject. So now we have a two-pronged approach. On one side, we work with the NGOs to reach the most vulnerable children. We work with the governments to integrate it into the national education systems. We're growing. Last year, we reached more than 20 million children. Our budget is 3 million, so you can imagine less than 20 euro cents per child reached. I'm pitching this today because many organizations at the moment, 10 seconds, many organizations are really reinventing themselves. They're really trying to find out what is our added value as an organization in the Netherlands vis-à-vis international collaboration, specifically in the discussion on decolonizing international aid. Start thinking about the social franchise model of one of your future new embodiments. Thank you so much, and we're here to provide information.
Nice, well done. The next pitch we're going to listen to is by video from Dineke van Wijk, Simavi.
Good afternoon. I'm standing here in the most beautiful movie theater in the world, the Tuschinski in Amsterdam. The reason that I'm here is simple, because today is not only the opening of the Partners Innovation Festival, it's also the opening of the Her Film Festival, which is organized by Cine3 and Simavi. I'd like to invite you to join us to watch 8 beautiful movies about health, empowerment and rights. It's online, it's for free, and you can watch it until the 23rd of October. But I'm not here to talk about the film festival. I'm here to talk about Simavi's work. And I'd like to convince you of 3 things. First, that gender equality and listening to women and girls is key. 2, that the way we work as an organization is just as crucial. And 3, that feminist leadership is the way to get us there. Let's face it, we live in a world designed by men. This is the case for almost any sector, but specifically for the water and sanitation sector, which traditionally has been dominated by men, with a strong focus on technological solutions. Men make the decisions, but are often blind to the needs and rights of women and girls. It's not okay that toilets are not safe and inconvenient for women and girls to use. It's not okay that worldwide 200 million hours are spent by women and girls to fetch water. It's not okay that girls and women are harassed or that they need to trade sex for water. This exacerbates inequality. At Simavi we say no more. The human right to water and sanitation is not about drilling wells. It is about gender equality. No real change is possible unless this is recognized. We must make our demands to governments and water companies, but we also must change the way we work as an organization. This starts by working with our partners in true equality, taking them seriously, working with them on gender equality and ensuring shifting the power is embedded in values and actions. At Simavi, we work with locally led women's groups and movements. We advocate for feminist leadership. We strengthen the voices of women and girls so they can speak for themselves and hold governments to account. For me personally, this begins with feminist leadership, providing real space for real conversations with people, connecting the dots. Trusting your team is important. It's not about providing answers, but it's asking the right questions, holding up a mirror, including to yourself. In conclusion, at Simavi, we are on a journey. We may stumble, we may falter, but we act because we have to open eyes and because we want to create real change, and this is the only way to get there. I'd like to thank you for listening to my speech, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and I hope I can join you next time.
Nice, great. We have another pitch now, the 5th already, by Alice van Ark, CNV.
Hi. Yes. I'm Alice van Ark. I'm director of CNV International, and I would like to present Making Facts Work for Workers. And I really jump out of my bed for this, because it's about workers and trade union rights to become leaders. It's not about me becoming a leader, but it's about them. The why we do this? Well, workers, for example, in the garment industry, like Jeroen already said, often do not know about their rights. They do not have a voice. They're unable to raise their voice and to negotiate better labor conditions. Local trade unions should be able to help them, but they lack real facts and figures. And they really don't have a seat at the table without these facts and figures. And they cannot play their role as leaders. And also, locations where these workers work are often very remotely located, like Jeroen already said. So it's a very important also reason why the concerns of these workers are often not heard. How?
Data collection and management just became easy.
Oh no! I didn't expect this. To change this, we need to empower them. We therefore came up with a 100% fair labor monitor. It's a digital survey that trade unions can use to collect the voice of workers and to measure, for example, the gap between the wage they currently earn and the living wage. And it can also be used to collect data on, for example, health and safety risks. Our organization started the first survey in the sugarcane industry. It's also an industry where plantations are located very remotely. And it does not very often that workers are asked to give their input. And we conducted a survey among 800 workers, and this showed that workers who harvest the sugarcane do not really have adequate access to protective gear and equipment. And also that it showed that women are doing mostly informal work and are badly paid. I think data is really powerful to make sure leaders can make impacts. And facts matter, and I think everyone knows. But what also helps, donors and companies are interested to join this innovation journey with organizations. It takes a bit of courage to pilot new things, and it also show what does not work. And I think all organizations should ask themselves, how could we pave the way for our local leaders and help them to make real impact? And let them do the work, don't teach, don't take over, and then you really make impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So inspiring to listen to all of you, to each of you. We want to give you the opportunity to reflect, but very briefly. This session is all about speed, so I want to make one deal with you. This is what I like to call the hand of silence. If you see my hand up, also put your hand up, and like the more hands we see up, then we know that it's time to stop again discussing, all right? Yes? Are you with me? Okay, great. So we want to give you just like a minute to discuss with the person next to you which of these big ideas that are presented here now would you love to see come to life in your organization, in your work, in your network. Which of these big ideas you're like, yes, I want more of that. So please go ahead and find a neighbor.
Nu camera 3, dus die.
Dacht ik al, ja.
Maar dat kan dus blijkbaar ook veranderen.
Ja, precies. Dat is...
houden ze dus dan wel camera 3.
Oké.
Anna is daar inmiddels al, die komt eraan.
Anna is er, oké.
Dat groene truitje, omdat het dan...
Oh, perfect. Kijk. Great, it works. Thank you. Perfect. It was very short, I know. That's how the CEOs feel the whole time as well. Like you. You're gonna feel in a second. Thank you for that. We just wanted to give you a little moment. We will give you another moment in a sec. But we have 5 more to go. So we want to go to the next one. Her name is Heske Verburg from Solidaridad, and she also has a video for us.
Hi, my name is Heske. I am the Managing Director of Solidaridad in Europe. And my big idea is simple. My big idea is about farmers. Farmers are the stewards of our land. They produce all the food we consume. Did you know that we have at least 450 million small-scale farmers worldwide? And that, according to the World Bank, 375 million of them live below the poverty line. They also suffer from climate change the most, facing severe droughts, extreme weather events, water shortages resulting in decreasing yields. So, mostly we depict them as victims, or we depict farmers as perpetrators, contributing to climate change, cutting down trees, for example. However, they also play a pivotal role in the fight against climate change. There are several nature-based solutions that make farming extremely low carbon. In our pilots with smallholder coffee farmers in Colombia, we see that farming can become even net negative. So more carbon is taken out of the atmosphere from greenhouse gas than greenhouse gases emitted. Same is likely for other crops like cocoa, tea and fruits. So, it's time to change the narrative of victims and perpetrators to climate heroes. Farmers play an essential role in the transition to a carbon-neutral economy. There is an enormous potential to store carbon in the soils and trees of their land, an untapped potential, since only now 3% of climate finance is used for nature-based solutions. So farmers should be paid for their ecosystem services, not only the actual food products, beans, fruits, nuts, should be valued, but also the services they provide. So we should start paying farmers for the carbon they store. The good news is that thanks to new satellite technology, we are able to verify the growth of biomass on farmers' land and to connect smallholder farmers to international carbon markets, meaning they become carbon farmers, besides being coffee, fruit, dairy, maize or soy farmers, selling carbon credits. Concluding, we can fight poverty and climate change at the same time, and we should. Let's ensure we integrate the climate agenda in all our interventions and pay for the services climate heroes provide. Never waste a good crisis. Let's ensure the stewards of our land, the producers of our food, the smallholder farmers, who are now the losers of our global economy, will be exiting this crisis as winners.
Great. We have 4 more pitches to go. Remember, let's encourage them with our applause and our energy. The next one is Annemiek Evelo, Choice for Youth.
Can I take this one? Is it on? Yeah. Okay, thank you. It's not on? It's not on? Yeah, it is. Okay, thank you. So, as NGOs, we are not like any other workplace. We all have teams of highly committed individuals that work together on achieving our organizational goals. And at Choice, this is definitely the case. This is our amazing team. They're also there. And their team stands super motivated young people that work together on a world in which all young people have the power to make decisions about their sexual, reproductive, and love lives. So when last year we had to redo our human resources policies and practices, we also decided to take a different approach. Because of course we could have looked at an existing CEO or asked other organizations for which policy they had, but we didn't. Instead, we started with our organizational values. Here they are. And they all relate to the intersectional feminist youth-led organization that Choice is. And you might think, like, what does this have to do with HR? And it might seem a bit far off. But when you look at it more closely, it really isn't. So that is what we did together as a team. We looked at each and every one of them and translated them in HR policies. So for example, as a feminist and sex-positive organization, of course, we have menstrual health leave for our employees when they need it. And in line with being an ally and an advocate for change, also paid leave for engaging in activism or joining a protest on a workday. Not gonna make it in time like this. So, and in line with diversity and inclusion and meaningful youth participation, we revised how we do job evaluations, putting their employee and their growth at the center. And we revised our total reward structure, creating more pay equity and transparency. And finally, in relation to almost all of these, as an example, we created a section on mental health, and we aim to foster a culture in which we can talk about our mental health issues in the organization. And what it all comes down, like when you link all of them, is the idea of trust. So as Dutch writer Rutger Bregman would say, most people are good, or de meeste mensen deugen. And as NGOs, well, I think this definitely goes for all the people that work for us. And while it's difficult, of course, to measure the results of such a policy, I do really see them. Staff feels trusted and valued as individuals and supported by the safe space that we create together. And as organization, it helps us to really practice what we preach. And that matters. Thank you.
Nice. Woo! Nice. And with 18 seconds on the clock. All right, 7 down, 3 to go. The next one is Thijs Berman from NIMD. Yes.
Yeah, good afternoon. NIMD is an organization supporting democracy in about 16 countries throughout the world. I am its executive director, Thijs Berman. And what we do is training young politicians, dialogue, facilitating dialogue, training primarily women and youth also to enter into politics where they are underrepresented, obviously. Now, innovation is a bit pretentious, but when we speak so much about participation, and rightly so, we should rethink what advocacy means to us. I have been a politician for 10 years as the European Parliament for the Dutch Social Democrats. And very often, to my dismay, NGOs met with us with a certain degree of mistrust. You are a politician, you will strike nasty compromises, you will not do what we say, and you are bad. We are good, we NGOs. Okay, so this mistrust on the one side is met with fear on the politician's side. Sometimes you're even blackmailed. If you don't sign this petition, we will expose you on our website. It happened, really. You are bombarded with thousands of emails. You have to sign this amendment or not. It does not work this way. And it mirrors very well exactly what we do not want from politicians, namely sending messages and not listening. We want a participatory approach, don't we, in politics? So irritation, mistrust, fear. The usual communication of advocacy is this, sending messages. It is sterile and fruitless. To hell with advocacy. Find a different approach. And why is this so urgent? It is because this mistrust entertains the mistrust that is growing against democracy itself and against politicians themselves. You may say in many cases they deserve this, and perhaps this is so. But no NGO will survive the death of democracy. The attack against democracy is worldwide. And it's not only Russia, it is not only China, it is also populists and dictators or dictators would-be dictators in other continents. And that all their attacks land on fertile ground, inequality, corruption, etc. But if we want to tackle the climate crisis, if we want to tackle the management of natural resources and so much more, if we want to reach equal chances, it will not be done without democracy. So find a coalition, build alliances with politicians. Fruitful alliances where you involve them, where you get them on board with their agenda and yours. And I think building alliances is much more fruitful than the sterile advocacy I just spoke about. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. You're trained. 3 minutes exactly. Great. We're almost there. Number 9 is Tom de Vries from Akvo. Yes, applause.
Good afternoon. Tom de Vries from Akvo, Data for Better Lives. My idea is about climate. Climate is a crisis. Let me see if this one. Climate is a crisis which is slowly getting to us. Wait, sorry about that. Yeah, there you go. However, why is it difficult to engage on the ground? Conversations are typically very academic, angry, fragmented, very broad. So what is missing? If you look in the top, you see here the COVID map. So what happened with COVID? When we finally got more information, we understood within our community what was happening. We got more trust and we knew what to do and what to do. That really helped us. And that's exactly my idea, what we want to do with climate, what we should do with climate. So enter the Citizen Climate Index, an open, inclusive, independent, socially and crowdsourced index on climate, but allows easy engagement on community level and peers for true climate action. It allows real contributions. And you see here the Citizen Resilience Index. So the idea is a learning algorithm that takes in a lot of different information that gives you a view of where you are as a community. And you can see, what is my risk around me? Can I contribute with ideas? Can I also, there's an opportunity also. I want to contribute maybe with data, I want to contribute to take action. So how does that pragmatically work? So I live in Haarlem. Around me, the sea level is rising. I would be very interested, what can I do? Can I maybe, first, what is happening if the sea level rises around me, like the streets around me? What happens to my house? What happens to my neighbors? But also, can I contribute an idea? Is there like a dike I can build close to the school of my daughter? And what are the opportunities? My daughter wants to look with friends at hedgehogs. Are they disappearing? What can I do for that? And the same, of course, in international development. So if you look at farmers, what can they do? They can make a picture of an animal that is disappearing, but they may have an idea, right? And maybe then club that together with maybe funding to take action on that idea. So that's the idea. And here is Citizens Connect and Act for Climate Impact. So bring this to the community level. Thank you very much. That's my idea.
Thank you very much. We've come to our last speaker. Yes, it's you, Anne Jelema Hivos.
So it's the green button to advance the slides, eh?
Yes.
Okay, right. So my name is Anne Jelema. I'm the brand new CEO of Hivos, and thank you. What a fantastic introduction this festival is to the vibrancy of the Dutch development sector. Wow, I'm just so impressed and excited.
You can also use the other mic if you like.
Okay. So we have less than 7 years left to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees and prevent the climate crisis tipping over into full-scale climate chaos. The good news is that around the world, millions of people are joining hands to fight for a just climate transition, a future that is not only green, but also fair, democratic, and feminist. The bad news is that they are up against powerful and opaque vested interests, from fossil fuel and agribusiness giants to politicians who depend on natural resource rents to maintain their grip on power. In fact, there is a growing risk of green colonialism, that the opaque and repressive power relations which underpin the current systems that drive climate change are reproduced in a new green global order. This painting by a Sami artist shows how the nomadic herders of Scandinavia are being forcibly displaced to make way for what? Wind and hydropower projects. This is a story that is unfolding in many forms around the world as multi-trillion euro markets begin to take off, whether it's in nature-based solutions, carbon credits, huge renewable energy installations, and green energy minerals. For better or for worse, technology and artificial intelligence will play a huge role in the climate transition. But for whose benefit? Today, our data and the artificial intelligence models and applications that make it actionable are increasingly monopolized by giant corporations and their government clients. The systematic propagation of climate disinformation, dangerous as it is just the beginning. Huge investments in climate technology solutions are being driven by private profit and, in some cases, states seeking to increase control over citizens, not by the needs and rights of those on the front lines. This is a wake-up call. It's time for the open movement and the climate justice movement to come together to democratize technology and AI. with policies and solutions collaboratively designed and controlled by the women and the communities most impacted by climate change. Our All Eyes on the Amazon project gives a taste of how game-changing this could be. Together with Indigenous organizations, we developed a system for local communities to use drones and mobile apps to monitor and expose previously hidden deforestation. In Ecuador, data they collected led to a landmark ruling protecting 180,000 hectares of their land and halting a tender for oil extraction. But this is just one small example. A much bigger global effort is needed. There is no time to waste. Let's come together worldwide now to put the power of data and technology in the hands of frontline climate defenders. Together, we can build a future that is just, green, feminist, and open.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you. We want to give you another little moment to speak to someone next to you about, which big idea really gives you energy? What do you want to work on? What do you want to bring forward? So either the same person or someone next to you, have a little moment to discuss. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. Of course, it's way too short. I know that, but please take the opportunity to talk about this afterwards as well. This was the end of the power pitches. It was great. Thank you so much. Yeah, everyone's a clap already. I want to tell you or encourage everyone to definitely reach out to these CEOs and their teams and speak more about these ideas. Also good to know that this is a part of the reimagined leadership trajectory organized by Bartos. So it's part of a bigger whole of reimagining how we can do things and how we can bring big ideas to life. There's a workshop right after this that you can join about leadership. And if you want to hear more from these wonderful people, there's also a new video and podcast series that will go live next month called Future Leaders. So stay tuned for that. I would love to invite all 10 of you, well, 8 of you that are here live, on stage so we can take a picture and just clap for you.